Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to lesson 149 in arithmetic. Today, I wanted to start off with going over your geometry. We introduced this yesterday. I want you to use this chart to memorize, and to help you do that, let's go ahead and clap twice in between each. You ready? We'll start with the hardest one. Point, line segment, line, ray, intersecting lines, parallel lines, angle, right angle, congruent angles, perpendicular lines. Okay, and today we're going to talk a little bit about simple closed shapes and polygons. So that will be later in the lesson. Let's go ahead and review. We have a new chart here. This is our multiplication chart. I'm going to do the same thing that we did with our mixed combinations. We're going to see how many of them you can get done in a minute, and hopefully each day that we do this you will get faster and faster. Ready? We're going to start from the top, and this counter down on the bottom that says 100, that will be 1 minute. Ready? Begin. Okay, 10 seconds. And time's up. Very good. I hope you got most of the way. If not, then you make sure that you are studying your multiplication. If you are getting done quickly and you're finished before the minute, hooray for you. But you should be saying the combination 6 times 3 equals. So you should not be finished before a minute, but if you are, make sure you're doing the whole thing. Let's move on. Yesterday we talked about these points. A point just looks like a regular dot. A line segment starts with a dot on one side and a dot on the other. It has a beginning and an end. And a line has no beginning and no end. It goes on and on forever. But a ray has one of each, an ending point, and it goes on the other side. Now that can be either way. You can have the arrow on the right or the left. It doesn't matter. We talked about an angle. It's made up of 2 rays with one endpoint right where they meet together, as well as we call it degrees in the middle of that angle. Depending on how open the angle is, depends on the degrees. And as you get further and further in math, you'll know that this would only be, let's say a 40-degree angle, but if you open it up even wider, that degrees will increase. Right here you have a right angle, and we talked about right angles. They have 90 degrees, and they also have that little square box in the middle. That square box is important. That's what indicates that it is a right angle rather than just any other angle. The measurement is right angle, which is 90 degrees. We have congruent angles hidden under my picture, and those are 2 angles that are the same degrees as well. Intersecting lines. Remember, we talked about having a street walk or a crosswalk. They intersect, they cross each other, okay? And the difference between that one and a perpendicular lines, where the intersecting lines, they don't necessarily make right angles, but the perpendicular lines always have 2 right angles. So make sure you know that. And the last one was the parallel lines, which never ever touch. Okay, they can go on and never touch. So that was your review from yesterday. Today we're going to get into some new geometric shapes. We're going to talk about a simple closed curve. A simple closed curve it's got a curve, but it does not, it also has a line. So the simple closed curve does not have a point of intersection where two things will meet, okay? So if you look at this parallelogram on the chart, you'll see that two lines never meet each other. Now, do they connect? Yes, but they never cross each other. They don't intersect. Okay, remember the intersecting lines like that, they never intersect in a simple closed shape. So a simple closed shape, you probably learned this way back in when you're 3 years old even. Some of these shapes that we're going to talk about, you learned about a triangle when you were probably 3 or 4 years old. A triangle has 3 sides, but it is a simple closed shape because, again, they never intersect. Those lines never intersect. It's also a polygon because it's made up of all line segments. So every line connects with every line, okay? That's what that means, line segments. Okay, now you probably learned about the circle as well back in as a 3-year-old in K3. The circle is neither a simple closed curve. I'm sorry, it's a closed curve. It's a simple closed curve, but it's not a polygon because it does not have any line segments. There's no straight lines that connect. So it is a simple closed curve, yes, but it does not make the requirements for a polygon. Okay, there are some more polygons we're going to talk about. You can see on the picture a square is a polygon because again, a polygon has line segments, and therefore the square also is made up of line segments. This parallelogram, if you can see on my picture here, it's a parallelogram has 2 sets of parallel lines. Remember, we talked about parallel lines never meeting. So they can go on and on and on, up or down, side to side, without touching. And the parallelogram means that they have 2 sets, one this way and one this way. Oh, sorry, one this way. And so a parallelogram can be many different things. It could be a square. Remember, the squares are also parallelograms. It could be a rectangle. A rectangle is also a parallelogram. Remember, it's also a polygon because it's made up of line segments. A little something special about a rhombus. If you think about the rhombus, it's a polygon. It's a simple closed shape, simple closed curve, I should say. It's a parallelogram also, and it's also a square because all 4 sides are exactly the same. The only thing different between this rhombus and the square is that the rhombus is slanted. So it's the same height, same width as each other, right? So if one side of the rhombus has 4 centimeters, then the other side has, all these sides have 4 centimeters, just like the square, but it's slanted. So that's the only difference that you need to know about that. And then the last one on this chart is one of my favorites. We talked about in health something called the trapezius muscle. It's using the same root word, trapezoid, trapezius. The difference between the trapezoid, I was going to say trapezius, the difference between a trapezoid and the other ones is that it only has 1 set or 2 parallel lines, the top and the bottom usually, okay, if we're holding it this way, but these other 2 are not parallel because you can see that one, if they keep going, they will run into each other. Okay, and that is your geometric shapes for today. Let's see what else we have in here. A triangle has 3 sides, and a quadrilateral. Okay, we didn't get to quadrilateral, but the quadrilateral is also part of those. There are 4 sides. And you think about the root words of those. Quadrilateral, quad means 4. Triangle, tri means 3. Okay. You do have a worksheet for today, 269 to 270. And on that worksheet, you have a few examples of homework 270. Boys and girls, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you back tomorrow for another lesson. You guys have a wonderful weekend.